Aloha mai kākou, e komo by the Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Maui Academy of Performing Arts opened its long-awaited original musical revue, Cages or Wings. The title comes from the opening song, Louder Than Words, from Tick, Tick, Boom, by the late Jonathan Larson, who also gave us Rent and birthed Lin-Manuel Miranda. Mr. Miranda was 17 when he saw Rent, and it changed his life. And then at 21, when he saw Tick, Tick, Boom, it inspired him to follow his dream. This original musical revue grew out of that same desire to put on a show. A creative team was assembled by the show's director, David C. Johnston, including Hoku Bavao, John Rowehl, Jason Pelucio, Leighanna Locke, Stephie Garrett, Shane Borge, and Carolyn Wright. As the deadline for auditions loomed, they still didn't have a theme or a script. They asked themselves these questions. Why are we doing this project? What do we want to say? What is the conversation we want to have with our community? When the auditions came, they enlisted the auditioners in the process. They were asked to share a song and a transcendent transitional moment in their lives, one that changed their trajectory. And that, my dear friends, is what you will see in the living room, which up until this time has been a name that came from the intimacy of the space. But prepare to enter a real living room through the design wizardry of Christina Sugars with couches, lamps, tables, and a coffee shop. And be ready to turn around to see the performers behind you. It is a courageous staging for courageous performances by a cast of Maui veterans and newcomers, our favorite combination. Francis Tauʻa gives us his heart when he reveals his relationship with his father and his own struggles in his original monologue, Never a Father. It is a touching, revelatory, personal piece. He is one of our finest performers. His Lenny in Of Mice and Men is still one of the best things I have seen on the stage anywhere. And the segue into that great song from Lakajo Fall, I Am What I Am, in the second part, is the perfect cap on another great performance from Mr. Tauʻa. Amber Fiedler made her Maui debut as Janet in Eric Gilliam's Rocky Horror Picture Show this past October at the EAL Theater, and you may have seen her on American Idol in 2020. I encourage you to watch her performance of Rise Up. Here she tells the story of her grandmother and follows that up by having gorgeous, heartbreaking moments when she sings Dear Daddy from Welcome to My Life by Bobby Cronin. She returns in the second act to tell the story of her child, Nora Rose, who she gave to another family to raise because she knew she wasn't ready to be a mother. But for her, pregnancy termination was out of the question. She is joined by two other Maui debutantes, Mehra Park and Rachel Lockhart, in both the monologue and in the completely appropriate and excellent song, Secret of Happiness by Paul Gordon from Daddy Longlegs. We learn the secret of happiness is clear, near, and here, in smashing harmony from this outstanding trio. Shane Borge pours out his heart to Ms. Park in She Used to Be Mine from the musical Waitress by Sarah Bareilles. When he and Ms. Park come together and he expresses what she means to him, it is the height of emotional harmony and splendor. And then after all this heaviness, he is joined by Barron Burton and Alan Zachary and Michael Weiner's In Love With You from the 2013 Broadway musical First Date, which reminded me of Sondheim's Not Getting Married from Company, where Paul sings about how glorious a day this is, and Amy reveals that it ain't going to happen. In this, Mr. Borge waxes poetic about his love for this perfect person, and then Mr. Burton and he say things about her that we cannot say on the air, such as the C word, and the one that refers to a female dog, and the one that talks about a part of the male anatomy. Well, you get the idea. It is a perfect light moment and gives the audience wonderful respite laughs. Stephie Garrett, who was last seen in MOS's production of She Kills Monsters, is another MAPA debutante. Her monologue, which was very well done, shows her coming to terms with who she is, and her song, Changing My Major, from the 2015 musical Fun Home with uncredited Hoku Bavao as Joan, is another fun exploration of someone recognizing and celebrating their hidden identity. Misters Burton and Tauʻa wrote a fun piece about two guys in a coffee bar playing checkers with Mr. Borge playing the waiter/barista. But the one that got me to use the tissue was the scene between real-life mother and daughter, Leighanna and Amaya Locke. It was a Star is Born moment to watch this child of not only our finest singer on this island, but also actor as well, do her work with such maturity, power, joy, and excellence. I was seated looking right at her. She is so at home on stage. The connection was magical, and their duet on Ben's Pasek and Justin Paul's Million Dreams from the musical The Greatest Show was perfect. I look forward with great anticipation to watching many more shows starring Ms. Amaya. The ensemble is outstanding, and the closing number, Light, from the 2009 Tony Award-winning show Next to Normal, was a superb capper on an evening of original theater. Lighting this show was entrusted to Maui's premier theater lighting designer, Ricky Jones, and he provided the illumination for each scene in this very tricky production. Christina Sugars gets the credit for realizing Mr. Johnston's total theater vision and making it work for the audience as the set designer. The wall where center stage used to be reminded me of the 69-70 Hugh Hefner hosted show Playboy After Dark. And of course, Kathleen Schulz dressed the actors to a T. One thing I didn't understand was toward the end of Ms. Locke's powerful rendition of Build a House from the musical version of Bridges of Madison County, she was given an apron, shawl, and babushka, looking like her character Zeidel in Mappa's 2014 production of Fiddler on the Roof. I didn't get it. Since coming to Maui, John Rowehl took over the Maui Chamber Music Chorale and Orchestra. He is the music director of the Makawao Union Church, and he is the director of the Maui Choral Arts Society, and now he is poised to become the go-to island musical director, along with Vanya Jerome, for future musicals. Not only did he prepare this stellar cast and the great ensemble numbers for this show, but he was the show's accompanist, adding to the intimate piano bar feeling the show has. He did a great job, and let's hope he is up for the work coming his way. Speaking of great job, David C. Johnston can add another notch on his belt of great work. Working with this group must have been the cat's pajamas. Mr. Rowehl told me, quote, "It's been a bit of a surprise to me how deeply fulfilled I've felt working on this show. And I attribute that entirely to my wonderful colleagues. The cast are, to a person, immensely talented and fearless performers. And it's been a genuine pleasure to collaborate for the first time with David C. Johnston and Hoku Pavao Jones, whose views about the nature and value of performing very much align with my own," unquote. Mr. Johnston tells us in his program remarks, quote, "In all the years I've been directing, I've never cast a show and begun the rehearsal process without a script in hand until now. This man is theater. He doesn't need a playwright when he's got great actors willing to open their hearts. Bravissimo." Cages or Rings runs Friday and Saturday at 7:30 and Sundays at 3 p.m. until March 19th. It deserves sold-out audiences, an extended run, and perhaps there's a piano bar where it could run forever. It is that good. Get tickets now. Go to www.mauiacademy.org. Don't miss it. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho.